Seltzer Kings.
Podcasts.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Case is dead in the water. We found diddly squat on the moon calves, and I seriously doubt there's anything to find. Plus, my dad caught me out at the farm, so now it's seriously off limits.
Dang!
As if that weren't enough, I'm starting to doubt the whole rationale for what we're doing. Casey, noxious, overbearing, 09er butthead Casey, has become a really sweet guy, and I think this so-called cult deserves most of the credit.
Sounds to me, Veronica, like you've been drinking the Kool-Aid.
I have not.
You better recognize.
Thank you for being my own personal Springer audience. Should I check myself before I wreck myself?
All I'm saying is you may be getting a little soft.
Oh boy, oh boy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Veronica Mars. We're just two boys watching every episode of Veronica Mars for the first time, giving our review, our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 1, Episode 09er. 09er. Titled Drinking the Kool-Aid. Directed by Marcos Siega. Story by Rob Thomas, not the guy who sang Smooth by Santana. Teleplay by Russell Smith. Original air date November 30th, 2004 to an audience of 2.4 million people. And before we get into the episode, everybody, we got a couple of shout-outs. So if you've been listening and following along to our Dollhouse saga on Patreon, patreon.com/Boys Watching Buffy, where we're doing Boys Watching Dollhouse. Dollhouse was on the CW app and the CW's website. You can just watch it for free. Went away last week. No longer available on those things. We were panicking. What should we do? How are we going to watch Dollhouse? How are we going to finish this? We put a floater out there on our podcast last week. Hey, we got the Dollhouse Blu-rays on our Amazon wish list. If you want to make this happen, that'd be very much appreciated. And lo and behold, the true believers, the day one OGs, Tofu Lover and Slytherin came through, got us some Blu-rays of Dollhouse. We're fine. We're keeping going on with that shit, baby. It's happening.
Yeah, and so we don't need any more. We don't need any more Blu-rays of Dollhouse. Yeah. I haven't checked the list, but I hope it's no longer on there. They're not up there anymore.
Need to update that.
But we don't need collections of them. I guess we could just keep giving them away to people.
Yeah, but, oh my God, somebody comes over to our places. Oh, you like Dollhouse? Yeah, you want one?
Oh, you don't like Dollhouse? Here, take a Blu-ray too.
Just using it as a plate, cooking spaghetti on it.
It would be a coaster, if anything.
A coaster, you're right. You're right. Yes. But yes, Tofu Lover, Slytherin, thank you so much. That is very kind of you. And I have a surprise shout out for you, Vance. Literally just found out this
Did I win?
Excellence.
Did I win?
You won, Vance. Found out this excellence 10 minutes before we started recording. Go out to my front door, look down. There's a little package down there. What's going on down there? Open it up, see what it is. Thinking it's another Dollhouse Blu-ray. Open it up. What's inside, Vance? Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Awesome.
Vance has been begging for this game. Anytime Nintendo Switch gets brought up, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Oh, I gotta get that game. I gotta.
It's been a long time coming. This has been the journey.
This has been a journey. For sure.
All right. So that's a wrap on the podcast. We did what we wanted to do.
So we got to shout out Ari Targaryen. Ari sent over Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now Vance can finally shut the fuck up about it.
Wow. Thank you, Ari. That is very appreciated. I can't wait to dive into that game. Years late, but the game's supposed to be still great.
Yeah,
I've heard nothing but good
apparently
things.
It got Ari through the COVID pandemic situation. So that was
that's when you couldn't even find a Switch. Remember, they were all like, they were all sold out. You couldn't get them back then.
Yeah, man. So Vance is living large. Are you going to start twitching now? Are you going to Twitch stream?
I'm going to start twitching. I will start twitching. Streaming, I don't know.
Ari did request that you keep Discord abreast of your progress with the game.
I will.
Okay, there we go. Fuck yeah, dude. We're fucking...
All right. I mean, this is a big episode here, too. I mean...
It is.
I texted Joe. I was like, what did I text you? I forgot. I texted you something. I can't wait this week. I can't wait to talk about this episode or something like that. Because this
usually when there's some kind of crazy shit going on.
Yeah.
It's like, yo.
All right. So I'm going to go into our predictions for what we predicted would happen. You said we find out more about Veronica's sexual assault, which I also thought would happen, but I didn't predict that. Nothing about that here. And you said she would try to join the PCHers, has something to do with initiation. And then you also went an extra step and said that the recap will have the clip where Weevil says, "You're still an 09er."
Man, I fucking struck that hard, dude.
3 strikes. Get him out of here.
Wow. Okay. All right. What did you predict?
I predicted that someone starts to buy their own hype and that there might be a cult.
Well, I nailed that one.
I just randomly threw that one in because I was like, the Kool-Aid thing. I was like, it took me a while to figure out like how I wanted to predict this, but the Kool-Aid thing made me think something probably cultish at the end.
Yeah. I took the cult thing and like transposed it onto the PCHers.
Yeah.
But it's a cult episode.
Yeah.
Speaking of cults, I'm back at it, baby. C4 watermelon. We got so many of them.
Same.
Yeah.
I will say I'm looking forward to trying out the blueberry blast and stuff. I don't think I had those.
I think they have blue raspberry. We got some kind of cherry thing too.
Yeah, there's some.
Dude, this watermelon one's so fucking good though. Wow. I forgot how good it is. And then I just put it up to the lips and it's fucking incredible, dude. Okay. So the episode opens up with a recap of the, sniper pictures of Veronica, learning that Jake and her mom were king and queen of the prom. Abel Kuntz telling, "You think your father's the bumbling sheriff of the town. You have another thing coming, young lass." So we open the episode right where the last one leaves off.
Before that, though, we don't get a Duncan Kane used to be my boyfriend, which I was shocked.
I know. That should have been in there.
How is that not in here?
That absolutely should have been in there.
It's so relevant.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do pick up right there.
Yeah. So Veronica's still crying in her car. She's coming to the realization in her inner monologue that, okay, so you know what? Jake Kane might be my dad. Oh, man, this is fucked up. Maybe that's why he's like, mom had to skip out of town. Maybe that's why dad went. Wait a minute. Maybe that's why dad went after him so hard in the case with Lily Kane. Maybe everything's coming together. Does he know that he's my real dad? Does he know that was there an affair or something? And wait a minute. Does that mean Duncan is my... Barfing on the side of the road.
Now, we're not doing quote unquote. That's for Patreon.
Of course not.
Of course not. But when Veronica goes, so Jake Kane is your father. Deal with it, Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, boy, oh boy, is she going into deep repression. Like, I know this is carrying off of what happened the previous episode, but man.
She just had to get tough, Vance. So Jake Kane's your father. You might have been hooking up with your brother. Get tough.
Bury it down deep.
Time to get tough, Veronica.
You got school tomorrow. Bury it.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, she's barfing on the side of the road. And then Veronica's in her monologue. She's talking about how she suspects that maybe Jake Kane is the one who, sent the pictures with the crosshairs. And she's like, okay, well, regardless, I think Jake Kane is still a piece of shit. And I'm still going to take him down. God. This show, man. You predicted it so long ago. I was hoping this wasn't happening.
It was the only logical,
Yeah.
It was the only thing that tracked.
So Veronica goes over to the Mars Investigations office. She's doing some more research. She's looking at those sniper pics. And then she's like, I feel like I know where this was taken.
I love that she somehow was like, you know what? This is the catalyst I need to find out who's after me and who made my mom leave me and my dad.
Thing that you're crying about every other episode.
Yeah. No, now it's just like, I got to solve this purity test.
Yeah.
The purity test caper comes first, and then I'll get to figuring out who's trying to kill me and scare away my mom.
So she's like, all right, so that's where this picture was taken. It was outside of school there was a book fair. Let me go to the place where I think this was taken. She goes to some kind of restaurant where there's like a little patio. She's looking at it. She's like, okay, this is the only location where this picture is possible. And then she asks the waitress at the restaurant for receipts from the last year, from a specific date and time, because she figures out when the book week was. Mm-hmm. And then she sees that the receipt was paid for by a man named Clarence Weedman. Veronica finds Clarence Weedman. She's following around, and he works at Kane Industries or whatever at the
Kane
big office.
Software.
Kane Software. He's the head of security at Kane Software. And then Veronica's just staking out outside, and she swears vengeance on the Kane family. Dude, she put this together real quick.
Real quick. This is a whole episode's worth of tracking down.
Yeah,
in like the first opening, before the opening credits.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, man.
It shouldn't have been this easy, considering. Like, if it's this easy, she didn't try this before when she got it?
I guess not.
This could have been a whole episode.
It could have been, but she condensed this. This is nice. I like it.
Not to jump ahead, but I love that we're going to find this all out and then kick that can way down the road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She found the guy, but she's not going to do any more research on this guy that she discovered.
I mean, maybe she's not ready for the info yet, man. She's not ready for it yet. She's getting tough still.
She's
gonna
about
get a little tougher.
She's talking about how she's going to take Jake Kane for millions at this point.
Yeah. You know what? One thing that I hate about this episode, generally fun episode, yada, yada, yada. The one thing I hate is that Veronica keeps referring to herself as an heiress. I fucking hate it. That was so gross to me.
When she did the accent, the rich heiress accent. They love making her do accents in this.
There's another accent in Dollhouse that we're going to have to talk about later on. Patreon.com/boys watching Buffy.
And we got an interesting Dollhouse to talk about.
Oh boy, do we.
But I gotta say, I was more interested to talk about this one this week, because this one has some stuff happening.
Yeah. But yeah, Veronica's still in her car. She's swearing vengeance on the Kane family. And she eventually comes home, Keith's acting real squirrely and weird. That Keith manner.
Yo, Keith. Yeah, man. Keith is a strange. Keith, this episode really went all over the place for me. Like, not just like his weird stuff, but like just like his moral stance and code and stuff that we'll talk about. But he's bruised eye and busted lip here, and saying they fell in a home plate, so we know he just got beat up tracking down a perp, probably. I guess
some kind of softball game that he's like lying to Veronica about. But pay no matter to that. Keith's got a big surprise. He's so giddy. He cannot wait to show Veronica the surprise that he got for her. He's skipping. He grabs her by the hand. He's like leaping to her room. And what did he get her? A waterbed. And Veronica's like, what? Why did you do this? He's like, remember when you were a kid, you wouldn't stop begging for a waterbed. Every year for 5 years, you asked me to get you a waterbed. And now I finally got you a waterbed. And Veronica's like, cool, dude. I guess you got it at like a yard sale or something? And he's like, what? No. And she's like, the sticker's still on it, bro. And he's like, okay, I got it as part of a throw-in with some Gordon Lightfoot stuff. And Veronica thanks him. She says that she loves him because her inner monologue is destroyed. She's like, oh my God, this guy is my dad. I don't care if Jake Kane's my biological father. This guy's my daddy. And they hug. And it's a little cute moment, but Veronica's still like, I still got to know, though.
Now, I had been thinking about waterbeds. Maybe, I think I saw something when I was like in Mexico City or something that made me think about waterbeds. And I was just like, wait, do they still make them? And then I started Googling, and they're not a thing anymore. But it was a time when a waterbed was peak luxury. like
based on the way that Veronica's like laying on it, I can't imagine it being comfortable.
Have you ever been on a waterbed?
No.
My aunt had a waterbed when I was younger, and I remember sitting on it. And it's just it feels like more like a toy than something that you would like actually be like, oh, let's go to sleep in this.
Yeah. I feel like if you roll around in it, you're gonna like fall off, or it's gonna envelop you or something.
Yeah, I never slept on one. I've just sat on one. But it's such an interesting thing. I think even at this time when she got it, it's too late.
Well, yeah,
like,
obviously.
Like I think in 2000, what is this, 2004?
2004, yeah.
Yeah, in 2004, I think it's way past the waterbed era.
Well, dude, I mean, now all those like blow up furniture, that's coming back, that 90s like neon aesthetic.
That's because no one can afford anything. So they like, yeah, sure, let's bring this back. How about air? They haven't figured out how to monetize air yet. So
I would be curious to try a waterbed, though. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know where you could go to sit on one, but yeah,
it's got to be a Airbnb that's got a waterbed.
It's
probably like the calling card of that Airbnb. They're like, check out our fully loaded waterbed.
But yeah, that was interesting. But Keith is super weird in the scene, and I don't understand why I don't know if this is a production thing where the actor got hurt and they just put scars on him, but like I don't like that he's all beat up and it's like no explanation the whole episode.
Yeah, it doesn't play into anything later on. It's just kind of like there as like a character thing. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back in a later episode. Maybe we'll be like, oh, that's who beat up Keith.
Maybe. But
maybe it was just sliding into home plate. That softball league we've heard so much about that he's definitely...
Right. My favorite part about this scene is he just like, all right, good night, and just leaves. He's like, all right, yeah, they're not gonna, that's it.
I will say that waterbed is like triple the size of a other bed.
Yep.
So then we go to Keith at Mars Investigations. He's meeting with some clients. They're talking about how their kid Casey, it's two parents, their kid Casey may have joined a cult. He left school one day 6 weeks ago and he never came back. He joined the Mooncalf Collective. He sold his Porsche and gave the money to the cult. And Veronica is like kind of overhearing this over there, but she's also more focused on another thing. But the parents are hiring Keith to find out what's going on with their son and to investigate the Mooncalf Collective. Turns out their son goes to school with Veronica. Keith starts talking to Veronica about that while she is, quote unquote, doing a blood test for class, but it's really a ruse to get Keith to give a prick of his blood so that she could do a DNA test to see if he is her father. Keith asks Veronica to like snoop around this Casey Grant guy and see what they can do, because if they crack this case, they're going to get paid $5,000 and it's going to be good stuff. And they also need to figure out if the Mooncalf Collective is up to anything illegal that they can bust them for.
Yeah.
But Keith specifically tells Veronica, don't go to the compound. Don't go to the cult yourself. I forbid it. And Veronica's like, yeah, whatever. Give me your blood, bro.
Yeah. This is one of those, I couldn't tell if he was being serious when he said it. Because this is kind of like the pilot where he goes, hey, don't investigate this, but take backup if you go, you know? Yeah. And I was like, okay, you know she's going to go there, right?
Yeah, I mean,
stop sending your daughter on these missions.
Dude, if I'm Keith, I'm not telling her anything about the cases that I don't want her involved in.
Yeah.
Like, he's there, like, investigate Casey, but 75% of the way. Like, bro, you serious?
Yeah.
This is Veronica fucking Mars, bro. You don't do half measures.
Yeah,
just
no
go
half
shove
measures.
Casey into that fucking bathroom and start waterboarding.
Yeah, I was just like, what do you... yeah. I feel like she's been doing, like, dangerous stuff previous episodes.
Yeah, 100%. But Keith falls for the ruse of Veronica. He gives her a blood sample. She packs it up. She's going to send it off to get the DNA test. And she is going to do some investigation of Casey Grant. So the next day at school, Veronica is inner monologuing. She's like, man, I still can't believe, I don't know if Keith is my dad, but I kind of want to get to the bottom of it. And then she walks past Duncan and she's like, oh, fuck.
And Duncan's
like, hey, what's up, Veronica? And she's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what level are they at now where Duncan's just chippy when he sees her?
Dude, she cold shouldered him so hard though.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, again, what is Duncan?
Yeah, what is... Hey,
what
Veronica, I know I broke up with you and that we're not really cool, but hey, let's talk. Like, no. It's just one of those things for the scene.
Yeah.
And this scene is very important for me for the ending.
Yeah. So we then pan around the school quad to see a bunch of white motherfuckers playing hacky sack, and Wallace comes over and he tells Veronica, oh man, this is some peak white shit right here.
Y'all love y'all some hacky sack.
Dude, there are many things that white people do that I just do not fuck with. Camping being the number one thing. I will not do that shit. Some fucking... I like my food with seasoning, but goddamn do I fucking love a little bit of hacky sack. Dude, I love seasoning. What are you talking about?
Your dry ass burgers.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's more of like a kid thing. For people that don't know, I get hamburgers with nothing on them, just plain the meat in the bun.
Yeah. So you're like, I like my food with seasoning. I'm like, yeah.
Other things, but dude, I fuck with hacky sack. I was not good at it, but I fuck with hacky sack, dude. Did you ever play hacky sack, Vance?
No, I've never played hacky sack.
There was a while I did a photo shoot with somebody that was like a birthday shoot, and they had a bunch of balloons, and I kept the balloons. I was like playing hacky sack with the balloons all day, every day.
I think hacky sack has to be like with the hacky sack, like kicking, like that's saying if you kick the soccer ball up and you were juggling a soccer ball. That's not hacky sack.
Well, then I guess never mind. I don't really fuck with hacky sack that much in the first place. There was like a 2-week period where I had one, and I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But then I got sick of it.
Because a hacky sack doesn't have a bounce to it.
Yeah. And who is there in the hacky sack circle but Casey Grant? Who
I think it's Gant. Is it Grant or Gant?
Oh, you're right. It's Gant. Yes, you're right.
I don't want people to get mad at us because this actor.
I know.
This
people
actor.
Fucking lose.
People recognize this actor from a movie.
This actor, number one, so fucking handsome. I gotta be real.
He has like he looks like a pretty Ken doll kind of thing. It's like a weird, like not human look somewhat. I can't fully put it.
He's got, this is the weirdest.
Is it the eyebrows again?
It's the eyebrows, dude. He's got phenomenal eyebrows.
He does have a Parker-esque from Buffy, like, vibe to him.
Or Andre from Veronica Mars.
Yeah, Andre's much more grizzled.
But, dude, his eyebrows are fucking phenomenal. He's just a goddamn handsome guy. And he was in Mean Girls as Aaron Samuels.
Yeah. I recognize him from something, but I didn't think it was Mean Girls. But I couldn't.
Well, he's in Cheaper by the Dozen 2. He's in Van Wilder freshman year. He's in Cake Wars. He hosts Cake Wars and Halloween Wars. He was on Broadway and Spam-A-Lot.
Yeah, none of those things
what
I've
else
seen.
Was he in? He was in wow, I don't recognize any of this shit.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't recognize anything he was in.
Bro, he's going down the Riley route from Buffy, where it looks like he's in a bunch of like Hallmark.
Oh yeah,
Hallmark shows. He was in Fred the Show, Dancing with the Stars.
All right, we're gonna cut this IMDb list short right now.
But yeah, that guy, Casey Gant, Aaron Samuels, he's in it. He's playing hacky sack, and we get a flashback because Veronica's like, Casey's acting really weird because this isn't how he used to be. And there's a flashback to Weevil reading a poem at a poetry class, and Casey's laughing at him next to some babe that's around his arm. And the teacher's like, Mr. Gant, is there something funny? And Casey's like, yeah, dude, Weevil's poem that he's reading it's a social distortion song. Now it's like, fuck yeah, Social Distortion. Great band.
Now, for me, this flashback is a terrible, terrible description of this guy being a jerk.
Yeah.
One, let's start off, what is his poetry class? Where Duncan and Veronica are like cuddled up together on the floor. And then Casey's cuddled up with the girl on the floor. And the teachers, this is a classroom.
Yeah.
They're acting like they went to like a coffee shop after school or something, and they're all like on dates. What is this vibe going on in his poetry class?
Yeah, I feel like Veronica was like in Duncan's lap, and he's like cuddling her and stuff.
Yeah, everyone's like, he's hugging her and like rubbing his hands. I was like, what is this class? Right?
Yeah.
And then
no idea.
And then him laughing and calling out Weevil for plagiarizing his poem isn't like, Veronica looks at Casey like, you monster, you absolute piece of shit. And I'm like, you're a narc, Veronica. You would have done this.
Yeah. Well, also, we don't know much about Casey. We just see him playing hacky sack, and she's like, he's changed. And like, we haven't heard this guy talk yet.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you want to show, like, oh, he's been a jerk, show any of the Logan 09er stuff that has happened in any of the previous episodes. Not Weevil was reading a poem and he was laughing at it. Like, it would have been interesting if Weevil was actually doing, like, it was real poetry, and he was laughing at it, then it's like, you're a mean jerk. He's laughing at it because he knew the song.
Yeah.
And Weevil, like, that's not, like, the worst thing. And at this point, Veronica's not, like, friends with Weevil. To the point where she's like, why would you pick on that helpless old gangbanger? Like, it's just like the weird, like, that contradiction of this flashback wasn't one that made me go like, yeah, man, Casey is a weirdo. I could never see a guy with his girlfriend lying in the back of class listening to Social Distortion and then playing hacky sack. It's like
Yeah.
those two things go together.
Yeah, it's not stark enough of a juxtaposition.
Now, like if I saw Weevil driving his bike and then playing hacky sack, I'd be like, oh, that is a change.
Yeah.
But this, I was like, this flashback is not doing it for me.
Yeah. But then we go back to present. Veronica's like, I know who I'll talk to. I'll ask his ex-girlfriend that was cuddled up with him about what happened to Casey.
During our orgy of a poetry class. That orgy class was crazy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I didn't think about that until you just brought it up. I was like, yeah, Veronica and Duncan are like cuddled up, and then
and the teacher's there.
Casey's in like a beanbag chair with his arm wrapped around his girlfriend.
They're all on the floor. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that is strange.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a Veronica bathroom interrogation scene.
Mm-hmm.
She's asking the ex-girlfriend, like, hey, what changed about Casey? Something happened, right? And the ex is like, yeah, I don't understand. He just like completely flipped a switch one day and like he was different. And he's weird now. Like before he was into like 09er shit. Now he's just like, he's really into like the earth and hippie shit. And Veronica's like, you have any idea what might have caused this change? And the ex is like, no. Well, there is one thing. I think he's having an affair with the teacher. Like, wait, what?
Why was that not the first thing that came out of your mouth?
Yeah, dude, what the fuck? I think that's a pretty big fucking change, dude.
I don't know. He got a haircut the other day, but oh yeah, no, he might be banging the teacher.
I was like, what the? How do you not? How is that not at the top of your mind?
I guess
when Veronica's like, what could have done this? I don't really know. I think a teacher's sucking his dick, maybe.
If this was a live show, it would be like you could see the director on the side, like stretching his hands out, like extend the scene, extend the scene. Like, I need you to say a lot more stuff. Somehow, Veronica has gotten to the bottom of who took those photos in like 5 seconds.
Yep.
But we're watching this in real time, slowly trickle out.
The mystery of Casey Gant.
Mm-hmm.
This requires lots of investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So she is like, okay, well, Miss Mills is the name of the teacher. She's like the literary magazine group coordinator teacher type thing.
She's different than the poetry class teacher, it seemed. She didn't look the same, which was crazy that they have this much at their school. There's like the English teacher who had his car.
English teachers.
Some schools just like loop those things all together. Like this school is very well, like it's got a lot going because they have the English teacher that had his car wrecked. They have a poetry orgy class. Then they have this newspaper. Then they have this like literary magazine person. Then we have Miss Dent who runs the journalism.
A lot of writing.
Yeah, let's see some math. Let's see some math and history. There was a teacher that we saw later at one point who's not good at math, which we'll bring up.
Yeah. So Veronica's plan is to infiltrate the literary mag crew. She goes back home and she's showering and there's a hot water problem and the hot water stops. She's taking cold showers and she's asking Keith, hey, we got to take care of this. We got to talk to our building manager, our super. And Keith is like, well, if we get this $5,000 case, we figure that out. No, we'll start looking for a new place. We'll get all of our problems fixed. So maybe you should look more into this Casey Gant guy.
Yeah, get back to work.
Yeah. Bro, what are you doing? God.
Yeah, and he got $2,500 for tracking down that person in the pilot, and they bought steaks. Yeah. So $5,000, they're going to get a whole new apartment. So, yeah, man, I don't know.
So then Veronica's in literature class the next day, and the teacher tells her to like split up into a group. And this is where I thought that she was going to split up and be in like Casey's group or something. But it's this scene is nothing to me.
This scene is another one of those scenes to remind us that she doesn't fit in that school. But only thing I took away from this is that this teacher doesn't know math because he goes, split up, break into groups of 4. And there's 17 people in the class.
Yeah. And Veronica's left alone. Everybody turns and like she tries to join. I forgot about doing that squat walk with your desk.
Oh yeah,
oh
that
my
like
God,
that, little, that sound that it makes.
God, that scene, it did bring me back. But yeah, we see everybody just kind of ostracize.
Not ostracized. There's no. What is this? Squid Games? Like what's going on?
I guess so.
Musical chairs? What is happening?
Last person out. You got to work alone. Sorry, sucks. Sucks to suck. But anyway. So then Veronica, she meets with Miss Mills. And Miss Mills talks to Veronica about the poem that she submitted to the Lit Mag. And it's some kind of, the title sounds like it's like a suicidal type of thing.
Yeah, she wrote something very like to get noticed. Yep.
Yeah, it's like the blood that bleeds from the wrist or something like that is the title of it. And I was like, God damn, Veronica, you're going real hard with this Lit Mag shit.
Yeah.
But Miss Mills is like, I think that you're got a very creative mind. You're a very gifted and talented poet, obviously. I would like to invite you to come hang out with my cult.
Yeah.
Want to come and hang out at the Mooncalf Collective?
But Keith told me not to.
Yeah, and Miss Mills is like, I can take you there today. And Veronica's like, oh, Keith, Dad told me not to do this. But then Veronica's like, yeah, let's go.
She's like, but he might not be my dad. Fire up the car.
But fuck his rules. He might not have known that.
I'm just disobeying a legal guardian.
Yeah. Yeah, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So Veronica goes to the cult. And Miss Mills is like showing Veronica around. And she's like, feel free to wander wherever you want, except don't go into the barn. That's the one off limits place. But anywhere else, go, feel free. And then Veronica's like, well, yeah, of course I need to go into this fucking barn now.
Yeah.
And Ms. Mills introduces Veronica to her man. And it's a dude named Josh. He's the cult leader, it seems like.
Yeah.
And Miss Mills talks about how, like, yeah, all of us belong to Josh. We're all happy. And then she just like hardcore tongue lashing, making out with this dude in front of Veronica.
I mean, you just got here. And you got this tiny high schooler with you. Like,
yep.
I don't think I've seen her seem this short in any episode besides this. Like, she is so small in every one of these scenes. People are towering over her.
Yeah, man. I mean, she is minuscule.
Yeah.
But after a good, 5-minute makeout session, Josh is like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, Veronica. And he hugs her.
Yeah.
Veronica's inner monologue is like, oh, I should have put in some lesbian overtones with this thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to hook up with this guy, Josh. He wants to make me his child bride.
I love that she said that as if like, that women wouldn't now be coming on to her.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Miss Mills would have totally been like, oh, okay, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
come on over here. But Josh says that, Casey's there. And he comes over to Veronica and he's like, oh, fancy seeing you here. And Veronica's like, yeah, just Miss Mills told me to check it out. And Casey's like, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not very surprised that you're here. I saw your poem and you got some dark shit within you, my dude. And
Yeah, everybody's reading that.
I guess so. The literary mag. It's a big hit in Neptune.
Yeah.
But Miss Mills invites Veronica to stay for dinner at the cult. And then Veronica, I just wrote, Veronica yaps with some lady about how they make their food. And her name is Rain.
She is from 24.
Ooh.
Another 24 connection.
24. There's so many fucking 24 crossovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, this lady's name is Rain. She's telling Veronica about how food happens. And she's got a job for Veronica.
It was crazy when they're like, hey, Veronica, you want to stay for dinner? We're having it in a couple hours. I was like, wait, what? A couple hours? Yeah.
I guess I'll just nap.
Guess I'll hang out.
No, she's got a job to do. The job that Rain gives Veronica is she's the cow milker.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica can't do it. She's having a rough time. She's never really done it. Doesn't seem like her vibe.
I've never milked a cow. I don't have a lot of farm experience.
Shit's
but
gay, bro.
But I don't think that's something you do before dinner.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're like, hey, I know I was just ladling food into plates and stuff, but you know what? We got a couple hours. Let's go milk this cow that's just standing by itself.
That's another white people thing that I have not engaged in, milking cows.
I don't know if I'd consider milking cows a white people thing.
Oh, why? Because Rain was doing it and she was really good and Veronica wasn't?
Because there's countries that aren't primarily white where cows get milked.
In this country, Vance. Fucking, are you serious?
There's black farmers. What are you talking about?
Where? Name one.
I couldn't name one white farmer.
Old McDonald, motherfucker.
Yeah, the history books got it wrong. He's black.
But Veronica,
you're really cracking yourself up.
Yeah. Veronica uses this as an opportunity to get some intel about the cult. She's starting to ask Rain some stuff about your guy Josh, he's really sexy, huh? And Rain's like, ew, no.
It's so leading.
Right? And Veronica's like, yeah, I feel like there's usually a barn that we would be doing this in. Maybe some kind of barn. And Rain's like, yeah, we were doing it out here though. Yeah. And Ryan's like, fuck, I am striking out. These cult members are good, my dude.
Yeah.
And then Veronica is asking her, so what do you guys do here? What are you growing? And then Rain goes, oh, we're growing the ultimate cash grab crop. And Veronica hears that and she's like, bingo. We found the smoking gun, baby. Yeah. And Rain's like, this crop, let me be real with you, dude. It'll blow your fucking mind.
It's so true. Yeah.
And the reveal that, dude.
The ending of this is very the ending of this I had so many questions at the end of this episode.
Yeah. It was a little odd, but I don't know. I was oddly kind of relieved, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll get there in an hour or so.
Yeah. After we go on another IMDb tangent and talk about eyebrows some more. So it's dinner time. The cult is gathered around the campfire. Of course, there's an acoustic guitar. Fucking some whitey is singing about that shit, about how the world is all peaceful and we're all one or whatever.
Yeah, it felt this would be meeting for worship for Quaker meeting for worship. They're all just sitting around the fire and then they're just like, all right, I'm going to talk about my feelings right now. And everyone just starts. Yeah.
Yeah, Josh stands up. Well, Veronica's like, I don't know where to sit. Rain has a spot next to her. She's like, sit next to me. And then Casey's like, nah, fuck that. Don't sit next to her. Sit next to me. And he's got his arm around her and shit.
Because he's from that orgy poetry class.
That's true.
Yeah.
He learned from the best.
Yeah.
So then Josh, the leader of the cult, he stands up in the middle of the campfire and he's like, hey, everybody, thanks. I'm so glad that we had dinner. This was such a good feast. Thank you guys so much. And love to hear a little bit more about how your guys' day was. So everybody, let's go around in a circle, talk about our day. And some lady is just like, yeah, my day was okay. Miss Mills is like, oh, I'm so happy that Veronica's here. Veronica's a poet, actually. Veronica, you should read your poem in front of the whole cult. And Veronica's like, really? And she just pulls out her notebook that she's got on her that had the poem in it. Mm-hmm. And she stands up, she's about to read it, and then she's like, I fucking can't do this. And she runs away. And in her monologue, Veronica's like, that'll buy me some time. It's like, why would you think that'll buy you some time?
Well, that wasn't to buy her time. It was to make her more, for them to want her back.
To make her look more broken.
More just she's playing the game of oh my God, if only we can get through to her and they'll want her more. Yeah. So I thought she was just going to straight up leave at this point, but instead she goes to the barn.
Yeah. And a horse fucking neighs in her face.
Yeah.
And it
a lot of animal props. A lot of animals in this one.
Oh, yeah. And it startles Veronica. She falls over. Josh, Casey, and Miss Mills come to find her, and they see that she's opened the barn door, and you're like, uh-oh. There's a glowing green light behind the horse, real goosebumpsy.
Yeah, what's the green light? What is that from?
It's a radioactive horse, man. But Josh comes over, and Veronica's like, sorry, I know I shouldn't have gone into the barn. I know I shouldn't have. Miss Mills told me to never go into the barn. And Josh is like, why? It's just a horse that we're trying to nurse back to health. Somebody was like trying to put the horse down, and we're like working on it. We're trying to save this horse's life. It's kind of our, like, I guess, secret project. And Miss Mills was like, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have been so secretive about the barn thing. And Veronica's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So when she was sitting by the fire, a thought occurred to me. And my thought was, where does Keith think Veronica is?
Dude? Yes. Exactly. Like, Veronica comes home so late at night, and Keith is always just sitting in his little recliner, like, waiting for her.
Well, he is not in the power seat when she comes home. Backup is sitting on the couch in the power seat, taking over. And Keith is sitting in the little side recliner that Veronica normally sits in. So I was like, oh, Keith, you don't have the power now, Keith.
Yeah, Keith is usually, like, at the edge of that couch.
Like, he's like spread out, arms out, middle of that couch, just like watching and stuff.
Yeah.
He did sit in that seat when he grilled Troy.
Mm-hmm.
But but now Backup is just chilling. Backup's like, I got this shit now.
Yeah. It's like, if you need anything, I'll handle this interrogation here.
But
so Veronica comes home.
When she comes home, he notices that she's dirty.
Yeah, he goes, what happened to you? You're covered in mud. And Veronica's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to go take a shower.
And I thought he had figured it out here.
So did I, because he asked her, so what did you find out about the cult?
Yeah. And she just says that, oh, yeah, he's definitely in it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she goes take a cold shower. Keith sips on a beer. So then Veronica goes to school the next day. She finds Casey, and she asks him to forgive her for going into the barn and acting all weird. And then he's like, hey, no sweat. You want to come back to the cult today? Veronica's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I got nothing else to do. Oh, that's when she takes a cold shower, that's when she does the fake heiress voice. And she's like, if I'm actually an heiress, I'll never take cold showers again.
Yeah. Dude.
They are running this cold shower thing into the ground this episode.
Yeah, 9 episodes is the first we're hearing of this. But apparently it's been going on for 5 months.
Keith is like, well, the landlord, he said he's going to do it, and he's installing new copper pipe. I was like, he's not installing new copper piping. And that's not even what's controlling the hot water.
Yeah.
And this is Keith, who doesn't take shit. Just being like, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's the super who beat him up. Yeah. with the copper pipe. That's why Keith's like, don't ask about it, Veronica. Don't talk to the super. We'll be fine. Well, let's just move. We got $5,000. Just move. Let's get out of this town.
I said, okay, we got $5,000. I already spent 10 on your waterbed.
We could get out of here. I know your mom wanted to do that a while ago, but maybe we should.
He stole that waterbed. He got in a fight and stole it. Put a fake tag on it.
Oh, God.
Hey, movie lovers, this is Kyle, host and producer of the Movie Wars podcast. We're not just a movie review podcast. There's plenty of those. On Movie Wars, a panel of stand-up comedians blends humor with deep film analysis using their unique war card system to grade movies across key categories. Each episode delivers thoughtful insights and spirited debate, offering a fresh comedic take on film analysis. New episodes drop every Thursday on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. Deeply researched, gut-wrenchingly funny, you'll love Movie Wars.
Any vehicle can take you places, but why stop there? The Alfa Romeo Tonale combines luxurious Italian design and electrifying performance to make every mile a masterpiece and every arrival unforgettable. When precision meets instinct and power moves with purpose, you never have to stay in a lane. Experience a world without limits in the Alfa Romeo Tonale plug-in hybrid. Tap the banner to learn more. Alfa Romeo is a registered trademark of FCA Group Marketing SPA, used with permission.
So Veronica goes to the cult again, and everybody's so stoked to see her. And Josh invites Veronica for a walk, and Veronica's like, "Oh boy, this is where he's going to propose to me to be his child bride or whatever." And she turns on a recorder, and Josh is like, "Hey man, I can tell that you have built up like a fortress around you. Maybe you should like open up a little bit. Like it seems like you got this tough exterior, dude, but like seems like something's bothering you." And Veronica's like, "Oh yeah, I bet you would like me to open myself up to you, wouldn't you, you creep?" And then Josh is like, "Hey, you want to know a secret? You want to know what we actually do here at the Mooncalf Collective?" And Veronica's like, bingo. She pulls up her recorder a little bit closer. She's like, "Could you say again what you're about to say?"
I forgot about the recorder because it never comes back.
Nope. And Josh is like, "Here it is, the ultimate cash grab crop." It's poinsettias. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to sell them at Christmas time. We're going to make a boatload of money. It's going to be sick." And then Veronica's like, "Maybe there's nothing wrong with this cult. Maybe these people are just nice." And
yeah, we find out like earlier that Casey sold his car and then gave the money to the collective, and this is what they used it for, to like extend
make
the
a
farm,
greenhouse or whatever.
make a greenhouse. And then Veronica does like, "Oh, if I had money, I'd donate." And he's like, "Hey, well, we're not like a charity. We're not asking, like, this isn't what we do. It's just like the generosity helps, and we're not about money, but we know money is what is how everything works. So it's one of those things." And I was like, all right, he's making solid points.
Yeah, Josh seems like a good dude.
And why would he want to be with Veronica when he's got Miss Mills all over him?
You know, Miss Mills a freak, dude. Miss Mills gets fucking down.
Yeah. He doesn't want a girl when he's got a woman.
Yeah. So then we have what I wrote down in my notes as a happy cult montage.
Oh my God. They kept cutting to the same shot of Veronica. Like just from a different angle. And I was like, oh, so she has it. There's no moving around. It's just her with the apron on.
Yeah. So then Josh comes over to announce, like, "Hey, the water department's here. They're here to check on our copper pipes. They're going to replace our copper pipes, make sure that everything is up to code." This is Sal, everybody. And who is Sal but Keith Mars? With his busted up face.
Who looks even more beat up than he has earlier.
Yes, he does.
What is
when
happening?
Veronica talks about, like, in that initial scene where she's like, "What happened to your face?" Like, I didn't even see anything wrong with his face.
I saw his eye and then I noticed his lip a little bit, but here it's just like full on.
Yeah. So he walks by, he sees Veronica there, they make eye contact, and Veronica is like, "Oh shit, I'm fucked."
And I was like, so you really didn't know that she was going here? You thought she just had dirt on? Like, they're not talking to each other. Because his face is so messed up that he can't just say, "I slid into first base or home plate." And her coming home super late with dirt on her pants, and he's just like, like there's...
Yeah.
He didn't go like, "Where have you been?" Or what. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're both like detectives.
So Veronica goes to the Mars investigations office, and Keith is just yelling at her. He's just like, "What the fuck are you doing? I told you, I forbid it. I am your father." And Veronica's like, "I know. I'm sorry."
Well, I have something to say about this scene, but Keith showing up as Sal undercover. This is something that dawned on me again. Is that there is no way that Casey and Miss Mills don't know who Keith Mars is or what he looks like. Casey goes to the school. He is an 09er.
Yep.
Veronica was an 09er. He knows who the sheriff that was investigating Jake Kane is. He would recognize her. The teacher knows who the sheriff of their town probably was. It's the biggest story in this town. It's no way he shows up and no one recognizes him.
I will say, this is his most convincing undercover outfit, in my estimation.
I think him just with the like FBI DEA jacket is better. With the dog, with the bomb sniffing backup dog.
Oh, yeah, that one was pretty good.
That's fine. He's got that. This one, he's got the outfit on, but it's him. It's his face. Everyone, Casey should be like, "Hey, what is your dad doing here, Veronica?"
And he does have a very distinct look too.
No one else in this town looks like him. Yeah. No one.
Everyone's got hair.
If Jake
He's
Kane
the only
showed
bald
up,
man in this fucking town.
If Jake Kane showed up, he looks like a couple other random people. You know.
Yeah, and of course, Duncan and Logan, they all look the same.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if Troy is still here?
Troy's with what's her name, Shauna.
I can't wait for Troy to come back because he's still out in the wind.
Yeah,
but it's no way they don't recognize this guy.
Yeah. So Keith's yelling at Veronica. She's like, "I'm sorry," and he's like, "Well, I mean, while you were there, did you find anything?" And Veronica's
it's like, well, I mean, you are doing the legwork.
Yeah. And Veronica's like, "I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. I've been hanging out with that cult for the last couple days. They seem pretty rad." He's like, "Of course they do. They're a cult.
They're a cult, Veronica."
And he's like, "How do they seem harmless?" And Veronica's like, "I don't know. Everybody just they're planting poinsettias, and I milked a cow. Like everything seems chill."
She's like, "Did you find anything, Dad?"
Yeah.
And he's
like, "No." And Veronica's like, "Did you plant bugs?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Have you listened?" He's like, "Yeah, I haven't heard anything suspicious yet."
Yeah, how long has he been listening? Like an hour?
I know. It's like, this is the same day.
Yeah.
But then Veronica's like, "Have you found anything suspicious about Josh?" He's like, "No. Seems like a good dude, actually. He worked for a tech company for a long time and gave it all up, and now he's doing this. And everybody's totally clean." And then Veronica's like, "See, I mean, there's nothing suspicious going on here." He's like, "I don't care. You're off the case. I forbid it." You were just answering to Veronica's questions. Like, she's the boss.
How many more of these "you're off the cases" are we going to get? Because he tried to kick her off of the neighbor
case.
The neighbor case.
Yeah.
We're 9 episodes in. He's kicked off of like 3 or 4 cases already.
Yeah. But
what do you think of these scenes? I don't think these scenes with them when they have to like act hard against each other work. Because there's a part where I thought they needed to do a second take. Because Veronica gets up and then she goes like, "That makes no sense." Like it's this long gap between it. And it seems like she like almost forgot the line. It's like, that makes no sense. It was just, I don't know. It's like it feels like a staged play. Like these, like, I don't know, like a black box theater play when the two of them are like, "All right, here's the scene where Veronica and Keith argue with each other." And there's just something off about him. I don't know.
Yeah. I
don't know if it's just like she's kind of green still at this point.
See, I don't know. I think that Keith is just a weird, like his acting choices are so bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't take him as like a yelling at his daughter. Like, he doesn't seem like that. But then when he's weird, goofy guy, like with the waterbed,
yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. It's creepy and weird. I don't like when he's kind of,
what he can't do? He can't do the David Boreanaz. David Boreanaz does the weird stuff and it's like somewhat funny, but sometimes it's too much. But when he gets serious and brooding, it's always like pretty good.
Yeah. I feel like Keith brooding, like in this next scene, like he
has ability, but it's something when the two of them are together that it's just not clicking the right way for some reason.
Some of the choices and like the lines that they give him too, where he's talking about like, "You got to rub my feet" and shit.
Well, I think that Veronica, Kristen Bell's character, goes to like, "I'm a daughter," and falls back in these scenes. And so I think it's because we see her so like snarky and aggressive. And then when she has the argument with her dad, she goes into like, I'm a helpless little girl. And like she's arguing that while he's trying to argue like aggressive dad. And those are two roles that they both don't play well. Like aggressive dad and like cowering little like timid teenager are not their characters. So when they have these scenes together, their whole dynamic shifts. And it's like two different people almost. And not in a good way. Like I understand the reason to try to do it, but it doesn't seem like it hits. I don't know.
But Keith is like, I might have to admit that there's nothing nefarious up with this cult. I haven't found anything, so who knows? I haven't found anything in the 1 hour that I've been investigating them. So we'll see what happens. And then the Gant parents arrive with a third dude who wasn't seen before, and like we don't get any information about this guy until like way late in my note taking. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, doesn't he say
he is from? So Casey's parents explained to Keith that Casey's grandmother is dying. Your grandma had a stroke, and if the grandma dies, she has left Casey all of the money. And it's $80 million. And I was like, oh, these parents are fuckwads. Mm-hmm. These parents are fuckwads. And the parents are worried that all the money is going to go to the cult. And Keith is like, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I investigated the cult for about 20 minutes earlier. And I don't see any evidence that Casey's in danger or that they're up to anything nefarious. And then the Gants, their third guy, he is with SMSPI, which is like some kind of investigation about like psychological influence and basically how people can break down another person to take away all of their beliefs and then instill new beliefs in them.
Yeah, he's a deprogramming expert that they hired.
Yeah. And Keith is like, oh, yeah, of course I know about that, but why don't you explain it to everybody else? Because some other people might not know about it. Love that he pulled that card.
Well, this is the one where Keith is like, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit, and I'm calling him out on it. And I'm like, oh, here's the backbone, Keith, that we've seen in previous episodes. Because this guy's a real creepster. I love that Veronica's listening outside the door, and he looks over and sees it, and he closes the door, and then he starts talking again, and we can hear it through the door.
Yeah. That was great.
I was like, okay. Now, another thought that just popped in my head, I'll bring it up real quick. Don't believe this family would ever trust the bumbling sheriff for this sensitive case.
There's $80 million at stake.
At one point, I was like, oh, they're going to go to him because they need him to be a patsy, you know? Mm-hmm. But why else would you go to if you're an 09er parent, why are you going to the guy who tried to take down the king of the 09ers?
Yeah.
That's
But the SMSPI specialist guy, he's convinced that the cult is deprogramming Casey so that they can instill their cultish values into him and take all of the money. And the Gants, they just want Casey back home soon. Mm-hmm. Keith is like, all right, I'll continue to look into it, but I don't know, man. I don't think that anything's going to come up.
And then Veronica screams because she's in a cold shower.
Yep. And then she's at school. She's at school, and Wallace is asking Veronica about the cult. And she's like, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. Like, my dad caught me, so I'm off the case. But in my time there, it seemed pretty chill. And Wallace is like, of course, dude, they're a cult. They're trying to get you into the cult. And Veronica's like, I don't know, man. I kind of liked it.
He's like, you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yep. He did say that.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her that she's soft. SAWFT. You're soft. Veronica's like, I'm not soft. He's like, yeah, you are.
You're marshmallow.
Yep. And so then she's like, I don't know, whatever happened to that cult, it made Casey a nice guy because he used to be kind of a dickhead.
Remember that one scene where nice. Where he laughed at a guy plagiarizing home?
Yeah. And then Casey shows up and he's like, hey, Veronica, my grandma's dying. You want to go hang out with her? And Veronica's like, absolutely. And Wallace is like, you soft.
When that happened, I was like, this is like TV. This is TV show stuff.
Yeah.
Why is he going up to this girl that he has a whole collective full of people? Why is he taking Veronica to see his dying grandmother?
That's what made me suspicious of it. I was like,
yeah,
why
exactly. I was like,
happening?
this is a turn. This is a plan. I don't know how it's going to work, but they need to frame the Mars family so they can somehow get this money, or he's playing it against his parents. Something. It's no like, hey, person I don't really talk to that much. You want to go hang out with my dying grandma?
Yeah. She's not even conscious. You're just going to go into a room that beeps.
When this scene opened, he's like pushing the thing that her like vital, like, you know, that stand. He's like moving it.
Yeah.
Why? The scene opens and he's like pushing it and then taking off his jacket or something. I'm like, wait, don't touch anything in that room. She's like,
yeah, right. I'd be so afraid to touch anything.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's just like sliding it. Like, I was like, what?
It's like leaning up against it. Yeah, so my grandma's dying and
it's like, and Veronica's just like, I don't know you or your grandma. Why am I here? Oh, exposition.
Well, because you're going to learn about the grandma, Vance. That's what. Casey's talking to Veronica about how his family's fortune all came from the grandma and her publishing house or whatever. Yeah. And it's nearly $80 million. And then my parents, they're such pieces of shit. They always hated my grandma. They always called her the grand monster or whatever, went behind her back. And then they found out that when my grandma is dying, that in the will, all the money's going to go to me. So now my parents started treating me really nice, and they want the money. And Veronica's like, oh. And then Veronica's like, well, did they just find out about this? And he's like, they've known about this for a year.
And that's not what they told Keith.
Yeah.
Big revelation. Just information that you would just tell one of your classmates who you read their. All you have to do is write some good poetry. That's all.
Bro, I gotta write some poetry.
Yeah, what are we doing?
With some 09ers, dude.
He was like, I read that poem you wrote, and let me tell you my life story and how I'm gonna inherit $80 million.
Here's all of my deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah.
So Veronica goes and she drops Casey off at the cult, and he's like, you sure you don't want to come hang out? We'd love to have you hang out. And Veronica's like, no, I can't today.
Yeah, my maybe daddy said I couldn't be here.
Yeah. But I really want to hang out with the cult.
Oh, I really want to milk a cow and laugh and make potato salad. Or the poinsettia's bright.
Yeah. So she leaves, she goes home, she starts to make, I guess, some cereal or something. There's a milk carton just facing camera.
Dude, I don't think I've ever, maybe when I was younger, maybe, but I don't know. 2004? Milk carton?
2004. Milk carton.
With a missing person on it?
Big missing person on it.
It's taking up most of the carton.
It's the fucking, it's like a headshot.
Yeah.
Missing person, and on there is Debbie Meyer. It's Rain from the cult. That's who the picture is. Her real name is Debbie Meyer.
Now, for me, when this happened, my thought wasn't, oh, this is before she went to the collective. For me, I was thinking, oh, she's gone missing post-collective. When I saw the missing person, I was like, oh, she is now missing. Not like she was a missing person, but she's just hiding. Like, there's nothing about the collective that makes me think that people live there necessarily, besides Josh. Because Casey doesn't live there. Veronica doesn't live there. Miss Mills doesn't live there. Like, there's nothing that says, oh, we all live here. We never leave. So
the parents did say that Casey didn't come home for 6 weeks.
Okay.
So I guess that maybe they are living there.
For some reason, I thought Rain was missing after the fact. When this scene happened, I wasn't thinking like, I thought she'd just gone missing.
Yeah. But Veronica sees the missing person headshot, and she's staring at the milk carton.
How long do you think she was staring at it?
Bro, it had to be for a long time. That milk is definitely rotten.
I'm like, in your old podcasts that you did, the anime movie podcasts, we did The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. I think you can find that on YouTube. You can find it on stuff. It's still available. I was guesting on that one.
Yeah, it's a great episode. A lot of arguments going on in that
episode. And we asked the question.
If you like hearing me get really worked up on a podcast, look up the anime movie podcast, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. And you'll hear me very animated. Vance trying to be a moderator between an argument.
And we debated, like, how long could you possibly stare at a painting, right? Yeah. You don't need to look at this picture all day to figure it out. Like, in the time she looked at that picture, based off the opening scene of her solving who took the photo of her, I think she can find this missing person situation. I think she could solve this missing person situation.
Absolutely.
That night.
Absolutely she could.
Drive back to the collective. See what's going on. Ask some questions.
Well, I think it's just more because her world's fucking shattered, Vance, because she thought the cult was good people, and now Debbie Meyer's missing. And she doesn't know what to make of this. But Keith comes home, sees Veronica looking at the milk. He's like, damn, that must be some good milk. You haven't looked up to say hi to your daddy.
Wait, you're home before I'm home? Like, what is our dynamic?
So Veronica's like, this missing person, this Debbie Meyer, that's Rain from the cult. I met her. She showed me how to milk a cow. Maybe the cult is not all it's cracked up to be. And it says that she's a runaway and a minor. And Keith is like, all right, well, I got to call the Gant family about this. And I was like, wait. And then Veronica's like, why? Maybe you shouldn't call the Gant family about this. And Keith is like, we have an obligation to our clients. And this is where I was like, Keith, what are you talking about? Why did the Gant family need to know about this? Like, you should figure out this missing person. This is separate.
No, the thing is, he's trying to, this is the smoking gun that he needs to let them know that
5K.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of the Dollhouse episodes that we watched recently with the cult. So this is like the smoking gun that he could tell them, and then he's like, we can get the $5,000. This is our chance to start anew. We can get new digs. And he's all about this money and changing their like life now, right? But then also like going against anything that seems like, he's like, we answer to our clients. I'm like, you were the sheriff and you were not willing to just like roll over when people were like, this is not the guy that did it. You're still investigating a case that has been closed and the guy's on death row. But for this, you're like, $5,000? I'll sell out easy for $5,000. I'm like, $5,000 is enough to get like hot water? That's what's going to sell you out? But you lost your whole career as a sheriff and stuff because you were morally, like, you were like, I believe that this guy's a bad guy. But this moment, you're like, nope, answer to the clients, doesn't matter. I was like, this is not Keith.
Yeah, it doesn't really track. And I was, I don't know, man. I didn't like, and I know that that's the smoking gun because he did specifically state, like, we got to see if they're up to anything illegal. And this would be the illegal activity that he could, I guess, take to the Gant, but it just felt separate.
And here's
and Veronica's like, do you think that the cult is fucking corrupting people? He's like, personally, no, but like now we have the evidence, and this is the evidence. So
$5,000, Veronica. Now, the thing that I really, 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 really hated in this scene is that Veronica's trying to make an argument for the cult not to be bad, right? But she doesn't mention that Casey's parents knew about the $80 million for a year. The fact that she didn't say that was just like, why? That's the card. You play that.
Veronica, I feel like she defends the cult very poorly in this.
Yes.
She doesn't say something like, maybe this missing person's is like a misunderstanding or something. Like, she's just like, maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you got to come up with a different
But we just saw the contradiction of them saying, oh, she's going to leave him $80 million. And then you know that they've known for a year. And they brought a creepster to your office.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe she just didn't say it. Because I don't think there would be any way for Keith to, like, push back if she did say it. But it was just one of those things where I was just like watching someone argue and have like the most obvious thing in their back pocket and not say it for convenience sake. Why did we learn about that if she's not going to share that information? It's like, has she told Keith about the traffic light situation?
Nope, that traffic light situation has not been brought up again.
It's just, they don't have that relationship where they're like tense and they keep stuff from each other all the time. Like, she's hiding one thing from him, which is fine. Yeah, they do, but I'm like,
kind of do.
But they had that scene where like, let's put all our cards on the table and solve this case.
Yeah, then they went right back to keeping secrets from each other.
Tell them about the 1 year. You have to say it. It was so frustrating.
I mean, this episode, they're hiding a lot of stuff from her. Hey, what happened to your eye? Softball. Why are you covered in mud? Don't worry about it.
Who's your daddy?
But, yeah. So then Veronica at school, she meets with Miss Mills, and she's like, Miss Mills, I got something to admit, dude. I work for my dad, Keith Mars, who you probably know as the bumbling sheriff of this town who fucked up the biggest case in this town's history. And I've been working for him the whole time. And then just before she's about to admit that she's like investigating the cult, Casey shows up. Mr. Clemens called me to the office. My grandma died this morning. And then Miss Mills goes and she gives Casey the most sensual hug. And Casey's whimpering like a little baby boy. And so then the next scene we go to the funeral, and the cult is at the funeral.
This is wild stuff.
Veronica's at the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica wants to go and talk to Casey and the cult. And Veronica warns.
Why didn't Keith go?
Bro, why didn't
this is your
go?
case.
What the fuck not? Who cares? Yeah.
Logan hasn't been in like 2 episodes.
I know. It's very odd.
Yeah.
But so Veronica, she goes up and she warns Josh and the other cult people about like, hey, I'm so sorry, dude, but my dad's the private investigator. I told him about Rain being a missing person and a runaway. So he might be like investigating you guys pretty hard. And Josh is like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And you want to come over to the cult later? And Veronica's like, did you not hear the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, Josh's reaction to this was interesting because this is where I'm still thinking, okay, they're going to show up. That place is going to be empty. This is all really a scam.
So you figure that something else is afoot here.
His no-selling of being told this is weird.
Yeah. He's just like, yeah, we'll take care of it. He should explain here, like, oh, I mean, she ran away because like she was getting abused and all that shit.
Yeah.
Nope.
Wait, you know what's interesting? Who claimed the missing person? Like her guardians? Her
I guess the Foster family or something.
All right.
I mean, it would look bad on them if they're like supposed to be taking care of her and then she goes missing, you know?
But like
Spoiler
milk carton
for later on this episode.
But milk carton level?
Milk cartons.
I feel like there's someone that's like, I don't know if this was milk carton worthy.
Yeah. She's a little old for a milk carton.
What is she, like 19?
She's a minor. Veronica does say that she's a minor. She
does say she's a minor, which having Veronica say that just didn't feel right. Keith can say that she's a minor, but I don't think that's like another like 15-year-old being like, she's a minor. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't.
Well, Veronica's got that, you know, detective mindset. She's got that weird hat and a little pipe and a monocle.
Well, she didn't say that last episode when she's like, oh, you're sleeping with Froggy and you're a minor. She did the full ages. She would be like, yeah, she's not 18 or something like that. That's how she would say that, not minor.
And let's be real here. When I first saw Rain, I thought she was 25, 28.
I mean, I'm just so used to TV like this where a 25-year-old can be like 18. So like, I'm like, sure, she's 18, 17. She's old enough. She doesn't feel as vulnerable as like Like, I'm looking at Casey too. Like, how old is Casey supposed to be? Like,
see, I could see Casey being like, TV 16, TV 17 or whatever, but like Rain did not look TV 17 to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Veronica warns the cult people about it. Then she and Casey split off and have a little chat, and he appreciates that Veronica's there. He's like, hey, I barely know you, but it really means a lot to me.
Yeah, you saw her on her deathbed, so you might as well come to the funeral.
And Veronica's like, I mean, how are you so appreciative of me being here? You just heard what I told Josh. My dad is like investigating your cult situation. I ratted you guys out. And Casey's like, yeah, you may have done that, but I don't think that you were faking your kindness to me and like hanging out with me and coming and seeing my dying grandmother and being here at the funeral, right? And Veronica's like, yeah, you know what? I was being nice and I did enjoy hanging out with you guys. Casey's like, all right, well, I'm going to go fucking have this awkward chat with my parents about inheriting $80 million and they're going to be all weird.
They don't want to make sure I'm not cutting them off.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to do a lot. Like, he has to have like a lot of lawyer legal stuff. And there's a whole lot of stuff that has to go on when you're transferring 80 million, as I know. Yeah, we've all been in that situation. I mean, I've made and lost 80 million like at least 5 times.
Yeah, definitely.
Insane that she doesn't say, hey, you mind if I get $5,000 so I can get some hot water?
Right.
I think you have to wait for him to get the money. Maybe write 3 more poems.
Wait a couple months. Let it, you just gonna have to tough it out with some Wim Hof breathing in the shower.
Yeah, I'm sure they have hot water at the collective, right?
Right. Yeah, they're all showering at the well.
They're lake showers.
They just have like that wooden bucket of water that they dump on themselves.
Some basin.
Put some lavender on themselves.
Yeah.
So Casey's going, he's going to go have a chat. And Veronica's like, damn, man, these cult people, maybe they're not so bad. I still don't believe that they're that bad. And she's in her car and she looks into her rearview mirror and she sees Casey get accosted by like a bunch of suited men, mysterious sunglasses, a bunch of handlers. They just grab Casey and they throw him in the back of a limo and the limo like peels off.
And chases
like, that's kind of on foot.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why did you get out of a car? And she got out like she was going to do something. I'm like, you are 5'0". You're not going to do anything. And no one at the funeral seemed to freak out. And then it's like, follow them. Car chase that shit. You just watched a guy get kidnapped.
We saw her follow Clarence Weedman all day at the start of this episode, but she's just like, I just saw this guy get chucked in the back of a limo. And he's like, hey, wait.
She's like, no, don't cut the commercial break. Don't cut the commercial break.
No, you gotta.
I can't chase him after commercial break.
No.
I don't even know if there's a commercial break. Is there? Right there?
I don't know.
No, they don't. Be. No, there's not right there.
Okay. But Veronica goes back to the Mars Investigations office and she tells Keith, like, hey, Casey got kidnapped. I saw him get thrown in the back of the limo. And Keith is like, is that really what you saw? And Veronica's like, I don't fucking know.
Keith was killing me here because he was like, I can't do anything. I need to wait 2 days.
Yep.
We just watched an episode where you broke into someone's house and kicked out a squatter when the cop said, oh, you can put you could like write this up and claim it, but the guy's going to be here for months, right? And Keith's like, nah, I can skip past all this legal nonsense. But here, he's like, what? One of your classmates was kidnapped by a guy? All right. I'm sorry. I can't do anything. And Veronica,
you have to wait that one out.
Yeah. You're telling me that a kid went with his parents? Like, I can't do anything. I can't do anything about it.
Keith's line of questioning here and Veronica's just lack of memory, I guess.
She doesn't mention the 1 year, $80 million thing again. Casey just literally said, I got to go talk to my parents. They think I'm going to cut them off with the money. And then they get kidnapped.
Dude, she sees Casey get thrown. Like these guys, these security guys grab him. And you hear Casey like, wait, no. And then he like DJ Jazzy Jeffs into this limo.
Yeah.
And Veronica's like, I can't remember if they threw him into the limo. It seemed on the up and up. I guess.
It's like Keith is like low flame gaslighting her. Like, hey, I don't want to question what you're seeing, but like if I go to the police with this, it's just like I'm saying, hey, this kid at a funeral got into a car with his parents. It's like, that's not what happened. Also, the creepy deprogramming guy was there too. Mm-hmm. This is a problem. They also knew about the $1 million for a year. They were lying to you, Keith. You don't have all the information. Please help me.
Nah, but there's nothing he can do about it. He's got to wait a few days. And then
this killed me, man. This is not Keith's character. We literally saw last episode. They go like, you like busting heads, don't you? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go do something. You got to break the law all the time. Why are you stickler now?
Busting heads and breaking hearts. That's his MO.
But now in this case, he's like, I can't do it.
Bro, he's impersonated a police officer like 9 times already.
Yeah, he's breaking and entering. Like, yeah. And here's a big question. Does he get the $5,000?
Yeah, we don't know.
What are you doing? If you're not even going to get the money, solve the... This thing just broke me, man. Because they play it because they want to do the heartwarming Veronica and Keith thing. But there's a guy that was just kidnapped.
That broke me. And then what happens next made me like, is this a dream sequence or something? Yeah. Like, what's... So Veronica and Keith start talking about the cult because Keith's like, I don't even know what to believe anymore because I did some research about the cult and I don't think it's nefarious. I did some research about Debbie Meyer. Turns out she was in and out of like foster cares and she was getting abused all the time. And she ran away from home to join the cult because she wanted to get away from that life of abuse. So I think that she might actually be better off in the cult. And I think that cult is actually really safe. And I think that they're good people.
And I didn't turn them in. And I didn't turn them in.
I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
What's happening here?
And then it's like this heartwarming music and like they're like bonding and it's like, oh, Keith and Veronica are on the same page. This cult's not bad. And I'm like, but there's the kidnapped kid with the brainwasher. And did Josh know that the cops weren't coming? Because why was he at the funeral? Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah. It's so much like...
I'm so with you, dude. I was like, what? This is so weird.
And Veronica was like, all right, I guess I feel better now that you believe that the cult's actually safe. Veronica, Casey, though. Yep. Why are you guys not helping him?
Yeah, forget about Casey. He's a dickhead, as we find out. Veronica's at school the next day. She's got some kind of flyer in her car, and she puts it on Duncan's car, and Duncan's like, hey, what is this? And she's like, oh, it's buy one, get one free sushi at Walk and Roll or whatever.
Free crab rangoon.
Yeah. And he's like, thanks for the tip. And I was just, and then she has a little inner monologue like, maybe it's not so bad that he's my brother.
She doesn't say that, but she should. They're cool now for some reason, which I did not get. Nothing has changed from her walking by him earlier this episode and being like, oh my God, I can't even face him, to this. Nothing has changed.
Well, she's still questioning who her dad is.
Yeah. So why is she nice to Duncan here? Why are they like having like we're cool again?
Then Wallace shows up to distract her and he's like, hey, what's up, Veronica? It's nice to be here. And how's the cult stuff? And she's like, I think the cult's fine. And then Casey shows up in a new Porsche.
Before that, when she puts the thing on Duncan's car, the line that she says, and I wrote this down, was, but can a lab tech really see the shape of my soul in a drunken conga line of jeans? And I was like, what in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer is this?
Yeah. Yep.
What is soul talk? Like, what? Yeah. What are we doing?
That was specifically written for teens. That's a teenager fucking thing.
But I'm like, we'll talk about it, but yeah.
Casey shows up in a new Porsche and he gets out. Veronica's like, hey, Casey. And he's like, sup? And then he does like the weirdest walk. He does like a
swagger.
It's like a pimp limp. He's got like new clothes on. I was like, is he changed again? Is he like back to being an 09er?
So what happened is in bold in my notes.
Yep.
Did that brainwasher guy brainwash him back to being a rich? Like he was going to have money regardless.
Yeah.
And guess what? I think he probably would have bought a car. Maybe not this car, but he probably would have bought a car.
Well, it was important to know that he had the Porsche earlier on because now he's back. I wrote in my note, I was like, he seems like he changed, maybe more douchey again.
So I just wish the flashback showed him being more douchey than like.
I wish this showed him being more douchey. Like his also, like swag is weird.
Also, so we have to do the mental leap of thinking he got kidnapped. That deprogrammer guy deprogrammed the cult niceness out of him, and now he's back to being a vapid, spoiled like 09er that just cares about flashy cars and money now. And
also, why do I care? Like,
if Veronica and Keith don't care, why should I care?
Yeah,
I don't like. Did they just brainwash a kid? And we're just saying there's a brainwashing guy and a family that just did whatever they could to get $80 million, and we're just like, nah,
yeah. It's like, why do I care? Because I know we're never going to see this guy again.
And did Keith get paid the $5,000? Did anything he do count? Does he get paid? Like most private investigators get paid like daily, like per diems and stuff. Yeah. Like, did he make anything off of this? That was a major plot point for the whole episode.
Well, they're still in the same apartment at the end of the episode, so I guess he didn't.
They were never moving.
Yeah. But so Veronica comes home. She's got the lab results in her hand, and she's looking at them, and she's like, should I open this?
Insane. She had those delivered to the house.
Yeah, right.
You buy a P.O. box and you get it delivered there. It's no way you're snooping private eye detective dad and you're just going to have it randomly show up. And he's like, what is this? Because I'm sure it says the labs on the front.
Bro, get it sent to the school like that kid's letter did a couple episodes
Some
ago.
lady will deliver to you on the quad. Like, hey, are you this kid?
Yeah.
No way you get that delivered to your house.
No, but she does. And she's like, oh, do I even want to look at these? Oh, do I really want to know if Keith is my dad or if Jake Kane is my dad? Oh, I don't know if I can handle the truth. All of the answers are in my hand. And if I just open them, I'll have the answer. But you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm shredding these. She goes into Keith's room. She puts the lab results in the paper shredder. She's like, I don't care if I know. I know who my dad is, and it's Keith. And of course, the paper shredder wakes Keith up. And he's like, why the fuck are you paper shredding at like 4 a.m? And Veronica's like, it was important to do it now. Keith's like, all right, well, whatever. Good night.
You can't sleep on that waterbed.
Right. And that is the episode. So Veronica is pledged to not know who her real dad is based on her DNA testing at the moment.
In my notes I get it, but I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to find out.
Now, here's my thing, though.
This is episode 9, dude. We can't find out now.
Blacklist is a show that did like 5 seasons worth of Is That Guy This Lady's Dad? I stopped watching the show before they even revealed it. That's how long it was going. Now, don't have her take the DNA test at the beginning. Don't have the end of last episode be what it is, where she just told straight up. Have her do a DNA test and then put us on the hook of like, we're not going to let, like, as an audience watcher, you know? Like, I get it emotionally for her. Sure, I don't want to. My biggest issue with her not wanting to know is the whole Dunkenness of it all.
Yeah, dude.
Now, you just have to know, because she's like flirty with Duncan. She doesn't know. They have like this weird thing where they might actually hook up again in some weird scenario. But now you can't do that ever. Like,
here's a question. If they find out that Jake Kane is not the dad and they are not related, would you want to get back? Like, even if it's not true. Like, if I'm Veronica, I don't want to fucking get with Duncan again either. Anyway,
she does though.
There's that weird stank of being your brother in your head for that week that you thought that it was. You know what I mean? Even if it isn't true.
I mean, you were told that by a guy on death row that's accused of killing that would have been your half sister. I feel like if I got the DNA test and I was like, oh, that guy just played me. Like, if she has not had that thought her whole life, like she saw that one, like the dance thing. and then she's talked to him. So everything's leading towards like, maybe. Now, if she had the test and it was like inconclusive, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, you just mailed in a DNA test. Sure, it's inconclusive. Fine. Yeah. That's a little bit of a kick a can down the road thing, but I'm like, at least it's something, right?
Yeah.
If we found out that it wasn't, that Jake Kane wasn't her dad, but Keith also wasn't, that'd be something.
It's Abel Kuntz is the dad.
Yeah. Or we find out that Jake Kane is the dad and we just keep going forward, like, and we do something, right? This here feels like, no, we'll keep, in an episode where they kept not saying stuff and not telling people things, this felt like the cherry on top of that shit sundae of like, oh yeah, we're not going to let you audience know who her real dad is either. I'm like, you're the one who brought this up to us. I at no point was ever wondering who her dad was until you guys started planting the seed that it's not. And then when we get to the chance to answer it, you go, Shredder.
They could have done that thing where like Veronica just like throws it away, but then the camera shows what the result is. And so we know, but Veronica still doesn't know.
Yeah, but I don't know what that would have given us the rest of the episode. Like, it's more interesting for her to have to deal with it and us watch her deal with it than to, like, that's what made the end of last episode so great. It was like, oh shit, how is she going to handle this? And you know how you could do this? Maybe don't have her take a DNA test this episode. Have her wonder, have her kind of asking questions, have her just looking at her dad like, is that my dad? Have her see Jake Kane and being like, do we have any similarities in us? Like, you literally made her take a DNA test that could prove 100% and then decided not to pay that off. And Veronica, you can find out that you're not biologically Keith's daughter and still be his daughter because he raised you. Like, yeah, that's more of a choice. That's more of a choice to be like, yeah, Jake Kane might be my like biological dad, but Keith is my father. That's a powerful message, especially for like adopted kids or whatever. And people, you know, so I don't know. I get it, but I don't like it.
It's a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 situation.
Yes.
He may be your father, but I'll always be your daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that scene made me cry.
That's because you're weak.
Yeah. Soft.
You're soft.
Where's Wallace? You're soft.
You're marshmallow walkie. But that just didn't, I don't know. We got to predict Lily's killer, though.
Yes, we do. Right. Yes. Do they have to? I guess they have to be different every episode because otherwise
they don't have to be
interesting.
Do you want me to predict a fun one or do you want me to predict what I think actually might have happened?
Let's do both.
I'm only going to do one.
Okay, all right.
I mean, we're not going to find out. If we're not going to find out who her dad is, we're not going to find out who killed Lily until like season 8.
All right, let's do the fun one then.
You go with yours first, and then I'll go with one.
I think Josh killed her, the cult leader, because she wrote in her living will that if she dies, then any money that she has goes to the cult. And so Josh found that out and he's like, we got to take her out. Get this cult the money. The Casey selling the Porsche thing, that was all, yeah, it's a ruse, you know.
I hate the way this story ends. I hate the way the car story, this whole Casey thing just ends so random. I don't like it.
So that's pennies compared to the money that he got from killing Lily Kane. That's how he actually paid for the greenhouse. That's how he can afford to have this giant compound selling poinsettias at Christmas time. You serious?
I can't wait to see the flower mafia being like, hey, you trying to hoard in on our poinsettia sales? They're putting like
Neptune flower mafia.
They're putting out a small botanist. A small flower shop goes out of business because of the collective. We can't compete with big poinsettia.
Who do you think? Poinsettia Pete.
I think we got a Son of Sam situation where Backup was the one who was just like, you know what? I don't like the relationship of Lily Kane and Veronica. And Backup decided, you know, I can only speak to one person. All dogs have ability to speak to one person if they choose. And he chose to speak to Abel Kuntz. and talked Abel Kuntz into making the murder.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be backup 2 framed backup 1. That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then he backup learned how to, just was like, hey, okay, stamp these photos and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe
that's why they're outside of the border of the picture, because the dog's doing it.
The more I think about this episode, man, like it opens and Veronica finds the guy that took the photos and just sits on it.
She's got to go to hang out with the cult.
She takes a DNA test and just shreds it. They find out that this cult is just up to just fine.
Yeah.
A guy gets brainwashed by his greedy parents and he just let it happen. Yeah. I don't know, man. This episode does a lot of weirdness at the end. And now she's just like, yeah, I'm cool with Duncan now. He might be my brother, but I'll never know.
Yeah.
Bury it down deep, Veronica.
Guess what, Vance?
I have seen the title of this episode.
The streak is ending.
Mm-hmm.
Next episode is titled An Eccles Family Christmas. Logan will be back. I'm going to guess that Logan's going to have a black eye or something. And the press is going to ask him how he got the black eye. And for a while, he's going to lie about it because Aaron is going to be like threatening him. But then at the end of the episode, he's going to expose Aaron for his abuse.
Interesting, we're getting a Christmas episode. How's Veronica?
Yeah. Original air date's December 14th, so.
Yeah, so definitely. Yeah, we're gonna get a Christmas dinner type thing, and it's gonna be awkward family drama with Aaron Eccles stuff. And it's just gonna be one of those real tense, awkward dinners. I don't think it's gonna get like publicly displayed, or it's gonna be like big news. But it's going to be weird. And Veronica's going to be there somehow. Again, if she found out that Jake Kane was her dad, then we could really push the like, is she going to hook up with Logan shit?
Oh, yeah.
I don't like setting it up. I don't like setting it up to not show it. Just to not have her do a DNA test.
We're 9 episodes into a 22 episode season. They're kicking shit down the road hard.
But don't set up the shit and then erase it.
Yeah,
that's my problem.
You think she's gonna take another DNA test later on?
Yeah, like how does she find out now? Like, what does she just
go back to that well?
She's just like she does a case at the hospital and like stumbles onto like some records by accident.
Bro, that's probably what's gonna happen.
She's like, I never wanted to know. Happen. Oh my god! And the scene with her and Keith when he has to confront him with it will be so weird.
She's going to be investigating a case, and it's going to be like the doula that gave birth to her or something, and it's going to find out that way or some shit.
You know what? you know what I would have loved? I would have loved if she was like, oh man, I haven't gotten the DNA results back. And then we find out that Keith has them as a cliffhanger. And he's just he's just looking at, we don't even see him open it, but he has it. He's just like locked it somewhere. Them. Yeah, if he shredded the DNA, yeah. I don't know. It's just something I don't like it. I don't like it storytelling wise.
Well, that is a wrap for Drinking the Kool-Aid, everybody. Thanks for listening. Hop on Discord. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/boyswatchingbuffy. We're doing Boys Watching Dollhouse. Crazy episode this week of Dollhouse.
Yeah.
Insane episode of Dollhouse. Are we in or out? You'll have to subscribe to find out. But thank you to, once again, Slytherin Tofu Lover for the Blu-rays. We're able to continue this.
Thank you, Ari. I got a game to play.
Yes, you do. Fucking Zelda Breath of the Wild. Can finally stop hearing about this fucking game.
Oh, we're just going to hear about it all the time.
I know. Vance every night on his knees praying bedside, please, oh please, can I please get Zelda Breath of the Wild? Now his wishes have been answered. Yeah. Also Jennifer's Body, that's still up there. You want to check it out. We, Amazon wishlist, merch, Instagram @BoysWatchingBuffy, TikTok @BoysWatchingBuffy, and Gmail, boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. You want to get a shout out, Apple Podcast 5-star rating and review, take a screenshot of a Spotify 5-star rating, send it in to us. We'll shout you out. And stay tuned next time for when we talk about an Eccles family Christmas.
So Jake Kane is your father. Deal with it, Veronica.
Seltzer Kings.
Podcasts